Joining us today is a man who has much experience and insight into this field. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Paul Huynh, Human Resource Senior Management at KPMG. Paul, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And before we begin, let's take a look at this clip to know our guest better.
Paul Huynh was originally born in Rexha, Vietnam, and then moved to Sydney, Australia at the age of 3. He has now worked for more than 10 years as an HR professional. Paul graduated with a Bachelor of Business Studies, majoring in Human Resource Management from Monash University. Paul has spent the last 6 years within the Big Four accounting firms.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So Paul, you were actually born in Vietnam. What brought you back to Vietnam?
Personally, growing up in Sydney, Australia, I didn't have a lot of Vietnamese friends. My Vietnamese language skills were terrible, so there was a real desire, I guess, to come back and discover and find my roots.
I think that's very important.
On the professional front, I'd had a pretty solid HR career working in Sydney with some of the biggest companies in the world. And so I really wanted to challenge myself. And in 2007, the time that I decided to come back, it was a time that Vietnam was really emerging as one of the hot countries and markets, and so there are a lot of exciting and dynamic opportunities for people like myself
in Vietnam. And so human resource departments are something that is lacking in Vietnam. Can you explain what's the significance of an HR department and why is it necessary?
I think that HR is still a very new concept here in Vietnam, but I believe that certainly in the last 4 years that I've been here, that a lot of companies are starting to understand the importance of having a strategic HR function that is working in close collaboration with the leadership team. And studies and research certainly suggest that when you have a HR function with the right people policies, driving the people agenda, that the financial performance of a company will ultimately improve as well.
So definitely something to invest in. And so I also want to ask you, human resource is something new, but it definitely requires a unique set of skills and mindset. Can you elaborate on what it takes or what kind of qualification and personality you need to work in human resource?
I think what has made I guess me successful in this profession is the ability to really build networks with people.
I see.
And so as the HR person, you are dealing with people at all different levels of an organization. You need to be flexible, and people need to feel as if they can approach you at any time. And so I think being able to build those type of relationships is critical.
How's your Vietnamese? You've visited a lot of Vietnamese universities.
Yes.
Do you need an interpreter or a translator?
I'm actually getting a lot better. When I first arrived in Vietnam 4 years ago, as I said, my Vietnamese was terrible. But it's something that I've tried to improve on year, and I actually understand a lot. But I just need a little bit more confidence actually speaking. But my HR team certainly helped me a lot, and so no, I don't need a translator.
I think you're being modest. 4 years, I think you're actually Vietnamese quite well.
Thanks, John.
So Paul, we're going to jump in more about human resource and the recruiting process. But before we begin, here's a clip on the recruitment process for auditing and accounting staff at KPMG.
The first step is online application. Then, if candidate's skills, experience, and qualifications met the requirements, he or she will enter the English test. This is a 1-hour-long test to check the candidate's level of English. Then comes the group assessment. The candidates will join a teamwork, as teamwork is such an integral part of KPMG. This is an opportunity to assess how well the candidate works in a group situation. The final stage afterward is face-to-face interview. If successful, the candidate will be given an official offer.
Hello everyone and welcome back. We're talking to Mr. Paul Huynh, Human Resource Senior Management at KPMG. Why is it that working for one of the big four is so attractive to young people?
Obviously, I think a lot of talented Vietnamese students are very interested in working for a large multinational company where they'll have the opportunity to improve their communication skills and really work with a diverse range of professionals. But I think probably the most attractive quality is that opportunity for them to really develop and grow themselves, both personally and professionally. All of the big four accounting firms I know have outstanding training programs that offer, candidates the opportunity to do that. And so I think that is probably one of the most attractive features.
So Paul, you had a solid career working in human resource in Australia, and now you're working in Vietnam. Completely different environment. In terms of the hiring and recruitment process, do you see any difference between in Vietnam and back in Australia?
I mean, really, apart from slight and minor differences, the process is actually essentially the same. When I'm approaching any recruitment, for any vacancy, my goal is essentially to find the right candidate to fit within the right role. And so every candidate that does come in is treated like a new slate. The end result is to ensure that candidate will fit in with the organizational culture. I've met some really nice candidates, very endearing. That doesn't mean though that they're the right fit for KPMG. And so my goal in any interview is to really find that right candidate for the right role.
I see. So Paul, talking more about the recruitment process of young graduates, why does KPMG find it worthwhile to invest in young people as opposed to coming into an environment like Vietnam looking for the most experienced people who know the industry?
I think graduates play a very important role within the company, and a company such as KPMG, where we are experiencing such rapid growth and we're promoting our professionals year on year, means that we need that influx of new talented graduates. That's right. And I guess my role in that is to ensure that we develop a culture that allows all of our professionals to have careers where they're able to flourish and really realize their full potential.
That's great. And so how do you retain those employees, best qualified, and how do you motivate them and keep them at KPMG?
Well, I think the key is to engage with the staff. I read, this fantastic quote recently about employee engagement. And in the book, it actually said that engagement is when an employee pledges themselves to the firm. And so when an employee pledges themselves to the firm, it means that they are connected with the strategy of the firm, they're connected with the people that work within that organization, and they're confident in the type of career that they're going to have if they stay with the firm. And so when you have an engaged workforce, I think that motivates them to not only stay, but then to build their careers, and then they're in it for other things beyond the monetary and the financial rewards.
Yeah, I think if people feel like they're invested in the company, then they want to see that investment follow through to the end.
Exactly, that's right.
And so actually at KPMG, there's this mantra of live, learn, discover, and achieve. And we'll talk more about that. But so let's take a look at KPMG's program of live, learn, discover, and achieve.
Live, Learn, Discover, and Achieve is an HR policy set up 2 years ago for graduates and internship program. The 4 simple words describe truly the culture existing in KPMG. Live really describe the work-life balance. Learn describe the world-class training opportunity for all employees. Discover is about the array of people and different cultures that employees may have the opportunity to work with. And achieve is simply a sense of achievement when they join KPMG. It's not just financial rewards, but also non-financial rewards, which makes the staff feel as if they are part of a winning team.
Hello everyone and welcome back. So Paul, here in Vietnam, how successful has it been in implementing this tagline?
I think it's been incredibly successful, but I think just through this tagline and through the opportunities that potential graduates and candidates have to really liaise with the KPMG staff, they're able to really find out for themselves what it would be like if they were to join our company. And I found that the graduates, the students, and also the parents as well have really embraced the live, learn, discover and achieve concept.
And I assume that has helped a lot in retaining these employees. But for those that go away, they are often kind of returns. And I want to ask you about this boomerang HR policy. Could you explain to us more a little about it?
The alumni program aims to do just that, and that's to stay in touch with and reconnect with people that have already left the firm. We understand, in any organization that turnover happens. People do leave an organization, but we have a motto, I guess, at KPMG, and that's KPMG for life, which means that even after someone leaves our company, they will always remember their time and their experience with KPMG.
I see. Paul, working in accounting and auditing, some consider very high pressure environment, and I would assume that turnover rate is high. What's been your experience here in Vietnam?
I think in any organization, John, I think the thing to be mindful of is that some turnover is actually quite healthy for any business model. I think that, is a career in accounting and auditing for everyone? No. Is it challenging, high pressure and stressful? Definitely. Sometimes yes. But I think the thing is that, and certainly at KPMG, what we place emphasis on is providing our employees with that environment where we support them, where we do allow them to really flourish and reach their full potential. And we do that through work-life balance programs. We have a very unique program at KPMG we call My Life, which allows our people courses and skills which help their people skills. So not just become better accountants, but actually become better people, fathers, brothers, sisters, things like that. We also have a very active sporting environment. So we have what we call a K Club, which is the opportunity for our employees to, during their leisure time, hang out with each other, playing football, tennis, badminton, swimming, and also through events such as dancing and staff parties as well. So we really try to ensure that there's a healthy work-life environment where people are actually able to successfully balance not only their professional careers but also their personal and also study ambitions as well.
So Paul, jumping back into the HR policies in Vietnam, it's definitely something that's lacking. We see a lot of bright, talented Vietnamese students go and work overseas or work for foreign companies. So in your opinion, what can be done? What can Vietnamese companies do to help retain and recruit the best employees?
Well, I think firstly, you need to have a very dynamic and active HR team that is working in close unison with the leadership team. So I think that is the starting point. And it's pivotal that the right people, processes and policies are in place. Once you're able to do that, I believe then you're able to focus on other critical areas, such as talent management and employee engagement. But you need to have that framework in place. And so I guess my advice for companies that don't have, a very strong or active HR team would be first to invest in that, because I do think that is a critical piece in the success of any organization.
Paul, actually, that's all the time we have today. So thank you very much for joining us and providing us with all the insights into HR.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, John.
Pleasure. And that concludes our show for today. Thank you for watching Sharing Vietnam. From all of us from NetVit, channel VTC10, I'm John Chun. Live for today, and we'll see you tomorrow.